loves, welcome to another episode of Coffee Chats, a series of alternative perspectives. Before we dive into today's episode, let me take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for your contributions in the comment section last week. I've selected 2 and here they are. This comment is from Gretchen Scialo 167. Gretchen, I apologise if I've pronounced your name incorrectly. Iced coffee, she says. That sounds yum. It's really sad and rather disgusting how women sit back and not only slander Meg, but do it for money. When a person who is willing to tear down a wife, mum, cousin, etc. and take money to advance themselves, it speaks volumes. Meg has 2 small children, one being a girl. Can you imagine what both of her kids will go through when they are older? Yeah, I've made this point before. These people think that kids stay kids forever, and they don't. Hopefully by the time Archie and Lily do become teenagers, young adults, the online landscape will have become very different and hopefully more regulated. As much as people try and scrub data from the internet, these things will remain. There's too much misinformation about Harry and Meghan, and it will stay there, unfortunately. So yeah, that's a valid point. This comment is from Vilma Smith-G6M, who says, let me ask you something. If your name is Grace and you meet another Grace, are you going to go after that person and ask them to change their name because you had it first? I have named my children from shows I liked. Should the shows take me to court? Should Jesus be upset? Because I've met a few people with the name. Meghan's first show was named The Tig, from a wine she loved. I went to the bank once waiting to speak to someone, and when I got up to go to the person, it was 2 of us getting up. Should I have taken her to court for my name? There's a great big world out there and we can all own a little part of it and still be happy. Yeah, so true. We're all unique in our own ways, but when it comes to naming, either a business or your children, names are duplicated, and that's just the way it is. You can't, be litigating people for having a name that is the same as yours or your company or your podcast. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, another valid point. Thank you for your contributions, guys. Next, what's your beverage of choice today? It's plain old black coffee for me. I've not put anything in it, just a sprinkle of ginger powder, because I need that boost of energy this morning. I've got a lot to do. So drop in the comments what you're sipping as you're watching this episode. In this episode, I wanted to talk about how we deal with adversity. Whether it's a really minor challenge as far as the world is concerned, or it's a major issue, how do we deal with it? I wanted to expand this conversation in view of what's happened with Harry last week in London at the Court of Appeal, and just the ongoing trolling of Meghan since the beginning of the year.
You royalist bot accounts are fascinating in your derangement about Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. And this one in particular, bot nurse Gladys number 4, she says, Meghan is a coercive bully who has changed Harry for the worse. You can see the fear in his eyes. She scares him. First of all, ma'am, are you married? I'm married. I've been married for almost 30 years. Most husbands fear their wives just a little bit if it's a loving, good, intimate marriage. But my husband don't want no problems with me. All good husbands should probably fear their wives a little bit, but that man don't fear her. She scares him. Ooh, that negress put a spell on him. Y'all are ridiculous. That woman has single-handedly closed up bald spot on the top of that man's scalp. Diana's boy, she did that for him through good loving, organic food, and the California surf and sunshine. Nastiness and the vitriol y'all have spewed towards Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, since the tragedy of the LA fires is truly shameful. She has been there hugging people and handing out plates for days before y'all even found out she was this. And it just shows how shameless the media is. It also shows me how desperate the royal family is to keep churning out these stories. Are we seeing all the wonderful things that Wills and Kate are doing for the people struggling in a cost of living crisis in the UK? Or what they're doing to fix homelessness, right? William's supposed to be fixing that in 5 years, right? Why aren't we hearing more about the miraculous and the inspiring work Kate is doing with cancer survivors? Why aren't we hearing about none of that? Why y'all over here in our tea and our Kool-Aid? Y'all ain't got enough to deal with back over there with the royals y'all pay for? Y'all have messed around and wandered into a Black American woman's account. I love that y'all are trying to pull the same shenanigans that y'all pull with the Royal Rhoda. I love it because the entire country gets to see how nuts and deranged y'all are, how blatantly racist y'all are towards this woman and her family, who is raising, I should say, Queen Elizabeth's descendants. And y'all could just be grateful. She is raising them away from the scrutiny and the insanity of one of the wealthiest, most toxic families in the world. And she ain't said a word about it. She's better than me. She is so much better than me because I'd be spilling all of royal family's tea, but that's okay. She's better than me. And she is being really kind to y'all because what you all are trying to distract from is whatever insanity is going on in Buckingham Palace and in Kensington Palace. They keep feeding you all these stories and feeding into your racism to distract you from the fact that they're robbing you. With as much as they have, they are still taking from you. The National Health Service has all kind of shortages and crises. Y'all are in a cost of living crisis right now, like as we speak. But Meghan Markle is the problem, and Prince Harry is afraid of her. He's so afraid of her, his skin is clear, and his scalp is now covered by his hair, the way the Creator intended it. We took a royal off y'all's hands. He's self-supporting. He's paying for himself. He told his own story and is now able to support himself and his wife. Y'all want to keep talking about it, because Black women are going to support that show just on principle. We ain't even got to know nothing about the royal family. Just off top, yeah, that's a Black girl. Her mama's Black. We're going to support her. We're going to support the show. And just like somebody that was raised right, she is handing out hugs and fixing plates for people that are victims of that awful forest fire. Y'all keep it up. In general, I don't engage with kind of trolly bots in my comments, but this is too good. And you wanted my attention, so you got it. I love to talk about it. Y'all chime in.
2025, there's been no let up with the media attacks, online attacks on the Sussexes, and you know, just thinking about that, I want to sort of look at how we deal with challenges in our everyday lives. On Sunday, I was running late, but I still had to film the intro and outro for Sunday's video before going to pick up my mum. We had to go out. So once I'd finished filming and scheduled the upload, I left the house to go to the car. And I was horrified to see 3 parking tickets on my windscreen. Now, I don't know whether other countries do this, but in certain residential areas, you actually have to pay for a parking permit to park outside your house. And I've always found that ridiculous, really ridiculous, because I remember a time when that was not the case. I think it was the mid to late 90s that they started introducing these parking restrictions in residential areas. So as far as I'm concerned, you already pay to live, you already pay to breathe air, you already pay to just exist on this planet. Now you have to pay to park your own car outside your own home. Anyway, I digress. As I said, I was horrified to see these parking tickets. 1 is bad enough, but 3. So what happened was, last Wednesday when I went to see my mum, I came back and I had a passenger in the car with me. So as the passenger got out, they happened to sort of not drag on purpose, but when they were taking their belongings out, the parking permit that I have on my dashboard somehow ended up under the passenger seat. And I didn't know that because for the few days after that, I wasn't very well. So I didn't have any reason to leave home until Sunday when I felt better and I went to go and pick up my mum. Saw these 3 parking tickets and I was like, what the heck? And I had, you know, that sinking feeling, this churning in your stomach when you realize that something is wrong. I just was not in the mood to go out on Sunday. I had to go out because I'd spoken to my mum before and said, oh, I'm going to come and pick you up at such and such a time. And then on top of that, the car wouldn't start. Fortunately, I had my device where I don't need to call anyone to give me a jump start. On my way to my mum's, I was thinking about these parking tickets and I was just so angry inside. So anyway, picked up my mum, told her about what happened, and she could tell that I was not in the best of moods. She was trying to make light-hearted conversation. And my mind was on these tickets and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because this was not in my budget for this month. I did not budget for that at all. I was driving, this was about a 50-minute drive to a different part of London. And I thought, okay, Chez, why are you allowing outside influences to control the way you're feeling? Because you can't do anything about this at the moment, but you do have control over the way you respond and the way you feel. So then I started to think about all the things that are good in my life. I have my health, I have my mum. She hasn't lost her mind. She's still got her sense of humour. She's not walking with a stick. I've still got my siblings. I've still got my daughter. I have a place to live. And I literally have a car that I can drive. I truly am a blessed woman. So there's no reason for me to have a pity party. And as my aunt always says, it could have been worse. So I thought about all of these things and it's like, it is not the end of the world. You still have the ability to live the life that you want to live. You can choose to be angry, you can choose to be upset, or you can just choose to be calm and just accept it for what it is. It's an unfortunate incident, but it can be sorted out. So as I'm driving this 50-minute journey, and then my mood changed and this churning sensation left. And I was literally happy for the rest of the day. I didn't even have my mind on these parking tickets. I was like, I'm going to enjoy my afternoon and then I'll deal with this later on. So it was about 10 o'clock in the evening. I did what I needed to do with regard to these tickets and I've left it. So we'll see what happens with the local authority in the next couple of months because they just needed proof that I have this permit. So didn't worry about it afterwards. But the old me guys would have been not eating, would have been angry, would have had a really bad headache, just worrying about what's happened. Worrying about something that's already happened, which is out of my control. But the me today knows that the way I respond makes a huge difference to my physiology and my mental state, my emotional state. I am in charge of how I feel. I am the one who's in charge of how I feel. So when I relay this to how Harry and Meghan deal with things, with all of the challenges that they face, they just get on with life. It's business as usual for them. Meghan is still inspiring people with her products and just loving what she's produced.
Meghan Sussex sent me a little something. Let's unbox it. I'm going to show you what she sent me and then I'm going to show you what I'm sending her back. Okay, first, not over this moment. I will be framing this and keeping this forever, obviously. So, enjoy. And I don't want to cut it first. Here we go. So gorgeous. Shortbread cookie mix. I've been dying to try the raspberry preserves. Gorgeous. Very, very good. Crepe mix. Herbal lemon ginger tea, herbal peppermint tea, herbal hibiscus. And we have our flower sprinkles. This is so beautiful, and as a thank you, I have to send you a harvest basket back. Starting off strong with some Lucky Girl Rosé. Then I was debating between a honey ginger lemon infused balsamic vinaigrette or a pomegranate infused, but I think I'm gonna go with the honey ginger. Then I'm going to send her our garden confetti. I just feel like two Leos exchanging flower sprinkles is like girlhood at its finest, like peak girlhood. I love it. I harvested some citrus yesterday from Casa Loche and Bloom. Next, I'm going to be sending her our honey. This is a wildflower honey. Toffee crumble from the ranch. I was debating between two sugars, but I mean, like, who doesn't want more sugar? So I'm gonna do a citrus sugar and then a strawberry powdered sugar that we make at the ranch as well. Granola, some black pepper Parmesan sourdough bread from the ranch, which is basically just like this cacio e pepe goodness, and a loaf of bread. At the ranch, we are currently harvesting so much lavender. I like to use this for soaps. You can even infuse these for cocktails and different honeys, which is chef's kiss. And we also use that same lavender for our lavender linen spray, so I'm gonna send her that too. And lastly, I'm gonna be sending her some lilacs that we just harvested from the ranch. I don't know if you can see behind me, but this is just one bucket that I picked up. I have 6 bunches of lilacs here. These are so fragrant, and I think that she will love them. So cute. Megan, thank you so much for my amazing gift box. I'm gonna go get this off, and then I think I'm gonna make some crepes and sit by the pool. Bye, guys.
Don't like the texture. This one tastes like nothing at all. I think this one is my favorite.
Quite nice, bright kind of jam flavour. Feels like slightly thicker. This is more of a serious jam, I think. But I have absolutely no idea. So this is a lot tartar, a lot more, a bit more fruity. It's got a bit more of a zing to it. I think this is my favourite. This one I feel like I'm nosing around in Montecito. Yeah, in a raspberry bush.
I quite like that one. I think that one's my favourite.
That jam is very nice. I really like jam number 3. It's got more of a wild berries kind of taste. It doesn't have one flavour. It's kind of complex.
I think Megan's is this one.
I think number 3 is Megan.
And then with Harry, his court case, as soon as he left London, he went to Ukraine and he got criticism for that. I referenced that in Sunday's video. But it's business as usual.
My first visit to Ukraine, and it certainly won't be the last. And it was an absolute honour and a privilege to be able to travel here with the Invictus delegation and to come here to the Superhuman Centre and see what an absolutely mind-blowing care and rehabilitation that is provided here under this purpose-built roof. It's astonishing. And to see the surgeons right inside the eardrum trying to help, well, as many people as possible. And I've seen a lot of different centres, but they're having a purpose-built centre where everything is under one roof and where individuals are going through surgery and then in the same building they're being fitted with prosthetics and then they are sent home, even though most of them don't want to go home, they want to stay here, and I understand why. There is no rehabilitation centre in the world that feels like this.
Now, he could have chosen to allow what happened in court, you know, the evidence that he heard, which didn't come as a surprise to him with regard to what his dad is doing. But he could allow that to affect him in such a way that he can't function, because he really would have every right to feel that way. But when you realise that Harry and Meghan have a purpose in this life, they cannot allow outside influences to divert them away from what they're doing. They've still got work to do. This ongoing work, this Invictus that has become such a huge vehicle for change. and Meghan just allowing herself to be who she's always been, despite the criticism. The consequence of being who she's always been has inspired people's creativity, or even reawakened people's creativity, just generating joy. And we need more of that. We shouldn't be coerced into thinking that because what's going on is very dark, generally across the globe, that we shouldn't find moments of pure joy. You know, some people may refer to it as indulgence or frivolity, but it's much needed. It's much needed. People are unaliving themselves because of how dark it is in this present time. I mean, it's always been like this, but it's just got worse and worse. And derangers, detractors will vilify a woman for just expressing joy. I'm 100% for this. I'm 100% for this. And this is just a fraction of what Meghan does. There's more layers to her than this. And she's just exploring and exposing the creativity that's in her, that we all have. But some people are not willing to nurture that because they're afraid of what other people may think. She's unleashing her creativity and she's inspiring others to do the same. People that have never entered a kitchen to make fruit platters or candles or arrange flowers. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it makes a huge difference how you respond to adversity. And that's what I want to hear from you guys in this episode. How do you deal with challenges? Whether it's an everyday thing, something you've not budgeted for, something that's come as a surprise, or even something that you're dealing with as an ongoing issue, whether it's with family members. How do you respond? Because what I've realized is that you have to pay attention to your thoughts. You actually have control over your own thoughts. No one else does. I always, not always, but as a teenager and young adult, I always used to think that it was always other people's fault why I'm in the position that I'm in, whatever that position was at that time, not understanding that I'm the one who actually controls my thoughts, because my thoughts then become actions, and then my actions potentially determine what happens in my future. As my community, because I'm always interested in how you think and how you feel about things. How do you deal with adversity? How do you deal with challenges? I have so much in common with some of you. When I read your comments, I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. So use the comment section to relay your experiences. Some of you are a lot older than me and have so much more life experience. Please share with us how you deal with challenges and how you've overcome. I can't wait to see your comments, guys. So as always, I will choose 2 and feature them in the next episode. In the meantime, guys, I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for meeting me for coffee today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we shall catch up again very soon.